What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to go over basically show you guys a video on how to spot real authentic jerseys versus fake knockoffs. And it's pretty tough. It's almost like, I want to say, it's almost like, comparing a real Louis Vuitton or Gucci item to a fake one. And it helps to actually own these items, pay attention to stitching, details, details, details. So in this particular example, I'm going to be using a Bobby Orr Boston Bruins 2010 Winter Classic jersey that my neighbor Larry gave me to sell. I know it's authentic because this guy had season tickets and he went everywhere traveling to watch hockey games, and he was also a professional hockey player himself. So I know his stuff is legit. I also know when he bought, you know, some sort of knockoff or like a practice jersey. So it's definitely in the details. And the frustrating part is too, if you're a seller and especially if you're a buyer, uh, it's really hard to tell the difference unless you pay attention to the details. So we're going to go over, this is the actual jersey I have listed for him. And I'll move this over, go over my face here so you guys can see it. So a couple things to look for. So this actual item was made in 2010 for a Winter Classic where they actually played hockey outside. Okay, so they were $500 at the game. Maybe on sale 400. You know, if you went and bought a jersey after the game. But it was an actual occurrence or game that they played at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, and very very cool. It was played outside. So here are some things to pay attention to when you run across jersey, and this will go across like other types of sports as well. You know, basketball, baseball. It's all pretty much the same, but especially hockey and football, especially hockey. These jerseys, the authentic pro versions, are the expensive ones. So number one is pay attention to just how the jersey itself lays out. So you want to look the B here, okay? And I'm going to show you what others have sold. So look at that B. Okay. And then if you zoom in, I mean, their stitching is falling apart. Okay. Real jerseys, unless they're heavily, heavily worn, you're not going to see all this like stitching stuff falling apart. Okay. And then you can also look at the actual patch. And if you zoom in, you can see where somebody hand stitched or with a sewing machine stitched this patch on there. You shouldn't see any of this stuff, especially when they're going across a line like that. That is laziness. They should be going like that, and you shouldn't be able to see it. So this one's selling or sold for $80, June 13th. I'm sure the buyer's happy with it, but they have no idea this is not a real jersey. And I'm going to show you mine. Okay, and we'll zoom in on the patch. Look, there is no little white thing going across it. This thing is professionally stitched and it's part of the jersey itself. So, yeah, there's a little fraying here because he wore it during the game. So it's not going to be perfect, but you notice there's no white stitching, meaning this is not just a patch like this one. See how the patch protrudes from the jersey and see how there's no black edging? It's literally they just took this little line here and sewed this patch on. So that's how you can tell a real from a fake. And then also the stitching on the B. See how it's coming loose there? And then here's the authentic one. Look at the stitching. It's perfect. It's like literally, I guess the best way to put it, it's like basically part of the jersey. It doesn't, you're not going to see any detaching. Anytime you see, I mean, there's a little mark there, but anytime you see like patches and stuff that seem like you could detach it or you can like fit your finger in between the embroidery or the patch and the jersey itself, it's a tall tale sign that it's fake. So again, we'll look at this one. See how there's like, it's like a shadow there. So this thing was stitched on with black stitching. And then other things to look for too, and don't really pay attention to the label. I mean, this label, they didn't really do a good job of taking the photo. but this is what the label's supposed to look like on an authentic one. So even the label will be stitched in very, very tight, very, very nicely. Okay, so if you look at the label and the label's like falling apart, like these are not tear off labels. Okay, so let's look at this guy's label. Again, all right. Other things to look for are the actual laces that are part of the jersey. Now, not every jersey is going to come with laces, but you're never going to see like the plastic tips falling off there. I don't know if I did a zoom in on that. Let's see if I did anything with the laces. I did. Okay, so see how the plastic is completely from where the knot or where the tip begins to the end, and then here it is on a fake one. It's just not as clean, and it's not as long too. It's pretty short. All right, now let's take a look at the back of the jersey. Oh yeah, here's a real good. See all that? Look at all the stitching just falling off from the label. You'll never see that on an authentic jersey. That's someone basically took this fake Reebok patch and this fake piece here and just put it on there. I don't know if we can tell if that's a real Canada tag or not. Mine's obviously bright white. This one kind of faded. Yeah, that Canadian flag looks faded. You're not going to see any faded red. I mean, it's made in Canada. That's going to be very pronounced. But my numbers are up here. Is that the same on this one? Yeah, so this looks like someone just took a tag and then see how the space is in Canada and the lettering. Okay, and then look at this tag. And there's a little bit of that. But if you notice, like, the stitching is perfect. Okay, so let's look at another part. So let's look at the reverse. So here's an authentic jersey on the reverse. And again, the name, it should all look like it's integrated or part of the jersey. You shouldn't see any flapping, uh, you know what I mean? Like where you can stick your actual fingertip and like peel back anything. And let's look at the back of this one. Let's look at the center line here in the 4. Okay, I don't have that on mine. There's no weirdness by the 4. So that was professionally put on, not by hand, but by an actual machine where these are made. And those sewing machines are super, super expensive, not your grandma's sewing machine. See that weird thing in the 4 there? They would never do that on an authentic jersey. I mean, that's not bad. It's like $80 for a knockoff, but again, they sold it as an authentic one. But again, you could really tell in the patch. If that patch looks like it's hand stitched on there, that's a tell sign. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So there's another seller that looked at my listing and decided to create their own listing, and they're asking 200. Now again, I have a really good deal on mine. I'm only asking 237.50. I was actually asking originally 250. I've got it on sale. So this seller just put theirs up, and this is just a patch. Okay, so that's their patch, and look at all the blue in here. All right, so their patch looks decent. And we'll again take a look at my patch. Okay, but if you notice, there's no like blue highlights over this. I mean, it's just all one color, and then this patch is just it's all embroidered. Okay, So this patch was made by a machine, not purchased and then sewn on. Okay, so notice the black border, not a white border like this one. This has a white border. So someone did a nicer job putting this patch on, but it's not the authentic one. See, the border is white, and the border of the real one, it's supposed to basically be integrated into the jersey itself. So this one's pretty good as a fake. And then let's look at some other things. So right here, they did not spell out Reebok in the back that year in 2010. Okay, it's supposed to have the Reebok symbol on the back. Right here. Okay, so that's an obvious tall tale of a fake. And the numbers on this $200 one, they're pretty bad. They didn't do a bad job stitching it on, so they does look like they had a pretty expensive machine wherever this was made, most likely in China. But it's not the same quality. The B is not the same. It's just you're not supposed to see any wrinkles in the white part of the Bruins label or the Bruins symbol. Okay, so it's supposed to be very clean. You know, that patch is on there tight. This patch is on here very loose. They didn't even stretch out the white satin when they put it on. That's just like a piece of cheap white material that they put this patch over. Okay, and again, notice the tips. They're very, very short. Okay, that's like shoelace style, whereas on the authentic one, they're going to be long. All right. So again, just be safe out there, guys. So the problem with my listing, it's like I look like I'm completely overpriced. So let me show you the market on where these things are at. So I just put in Bobby Bruins 2010 winter. So these are the ones that pop up. So this guy's got a fake one for 200. This is my authentic one, and I put authentic pro. So there's different variations. This is the highest grade one you can get. So this is mine. That's authentic. Then we got a cheap $80 one. That's not authentic. We got this guy here selling brand new ones. I mean, seriously, if these were brand new, this guy could ask like $750. Let's take very detailed photos. But again, the short shoelace tip. Or is not even has the white highlights. There is no Reebok symbol up here. I mean, this is a really, really bad knockoff. And then the patch again is not black bordered. It's just on there. And he sold all of them. This guy here has sold 35 of these jerseys. And again, they might be a lower grade, but still, that's crazy that this guy was able to sell 35 knockoff jerseys and basically claim that they're authentic, which they're not. So just be careful out there. And I know it's tough, but when you actually look at the jersey, pay attention to all the details. If you see anything that's loose that doesn't look right, like bad stitching or the tag is all weird, and if it just like feels cheap, it's not a real one. So appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this helps you guys out when you're out there sourcing for jerseys. Or if you have some jerseys or you've been to the stadium. Obviously, you go to the stadium, you buy it from the stadium, it's going to be authentic. But when you go outside of the stadium at all these events, everybody and their mother selling knockoffs. Or if you had a flea market or Goodwill, Goodwill doesn't know if it's real or not. But if you can find a real authentic jersey, you can pick it up, for $5-10 at a garage sale. You can make a lot of money on these. So appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you on the next one.